Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Napoleon and today we are back with another Enlisted video, and today we're going to be talking about the bugs, and the reason is simple, because Enlisted's update is going to be coming, and when I mean coming, it's going to be coming in a few weeks or 1 month. And the reason why I say that is because the last update is a decent amount of days away, and we are almost getting the new update. I can sense it around the corner, and that means that's a good day to fix all the Enlisted bugs, because as of right now, there are a lot of Enlisted bugs. So without further ado, let's talk about some of them. Well, the first thing I like to talk about is the Wi-Fi issue. Now, this isn't entirely a bug, per se, because it could be your own fault, but it's mainly along the lines of sometimes the game would literally stop halfway, and you would literally get a desertion penalty. What a lot of people have an issue with is the desertion penalty, mainly because of the fact that having a desertion penalty for not essentially your fault is kind of a pain, if you ask me. Moving on, we have to talk about the next bug, which is the TNT failing to detonate. This is essentially happens when you put a TNT on the tank or object you want to detonate, and you press down the detonate button and it doesn't work. Now, this is the exact reason why, when using guerrillas, I use anti-tank mines or anti-personnel mines instead of TNT charges, because I know this will happen, and if you imagine yourself trying to go all the way to a tank, put your TNT charge, run away, and it still doesn't detonate, that is kind of sad. And of course, I do have to admit, it has been solved, but it hasn't been completely solved. Moving on, we have even bigger issues. As of right now, it appears that bots are shooting unrealistically through trees, and this has been gotten worse ever since the last update, which is not fun for anyone because we all know what that means. Bots can do 360 and shoot you in the face, so that's unfortunate. Not to mention the fact that all soldiers as of right now, they tend to melee you when you turn around the corner, so that's not fun for anyone either. Moving on, we have the inconsistent bullet behavior. For those who don't know, when you use bullets, as of right now, Enlisted's bullet trajectory is a little bit odd. And what I mean that is, like, if there's an object in the way, sometimes the bullet just goes through and nothing happens and everything is good and chill. But sometimes the object acts as a barrier, and what ends up happening is that you can't go through the barrier, meaning that your bullets won't pass through that said barrier. Not to mention the fact that regarding tanks or whatnot, when you go through trees, there are some trees that you can crush, and there are some trees that you cannot crush, which does not make sense, because you're a 50-ton tank, and you literally cannot crush a tree. That just doesn't make sense, and the tree isn't even tall, it's just like a little tree. So that's unfortunate for everyone. Now, moving on, we have some bigger ideas to cover, and this is the main part of the video in which I want Enlisted to really solve. It's the charging mechanic. For those who don't know, when you often charge, and this is done because everyone knows that running is slower than charging, which is kind of funny. What ends up happening is that if you charge, you can sometimes initiate the charge, and sometimes you can't initiate the charge. It really depends on your luck. It's like a 50-50 chance. It's really frustrating when you charge and you stop halfway, and it just doesn't make sense because you've been charging all decently and you stop. And this is not even to mention the fact that sometimes charging you have to operate it, and when it doesn't operate, it's just like, what's going on? You're charging, but the mechanic isn't allowing you to charge for some reason. Now, moving on, we do have to talk about other major issues such as the reload rate. For those who don't know, if you turn around and reload your weapon for another bot, well, what they end up doing is that they don't reload at all, and sometimes the worst case scenario is that your bot runs out of ammunition and you change to another bot, or your bot dies and you want to change to another bot, they have 0 ammo, or they have, worst case scenario, they have 1 round, which doesn't make sense. Like, this is the worst case scenario for you. So yeah, that doesn't really make sense. And in my personal opinion, there are a lot of other bugs, and such as plane drifting, and the fact that some objects you cannot shoot through, even though, well, you're technically not even touching them. So that's a problem that a lot of people have been talking about. And what do I mean by fixing these problems before the update? The reason is simple. You want to fix these problems as soon as humanly possible. I do have to admit that Enlisted has been doing a great leap forward regarding bugs, and I do think it's a really good leap, because right now the bugs have been decreased, and that's pretty good. Improvement is better than no improvement, but the fact that there are still a lot of bugs, so that's something to note for Enlisted. Now, that said, without further ado, this is all for this video. What bugs are you guys been experiencing? Because as of right now, I'm experiencing some wacky bugs out there. Comment in the comment section down below of your bugs, and I'll see you in the next one.